If given the chance, Frankenbeans would eat me without a second thought.
Go get him.
Here, pig, pig, pig. Here, pig, pig, pig. Here, pig. Here, pig. Hey. Pig, 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 pig. Come here. Here, pig. Hey, folks, I'm Sean the Modern Yeoman, and I'd like to welcome you back to the Homestead, where, as you can see behind me, our feeder pigs, Frank and Beans, had their run extended. It took them a few days to get used to it. As you saw in the intro, when I just kind of extended the run, they were a little skittish about coming out on the grass, but now that it's been a few days, I think they're pretty comfortable out here in the grass. And as you can see over there, they've even extended the size of their wallow with a lot of rooting. All of that used to be grass, but no longer. Anyways, we'll check in with Frank and Beans here later, but what I'm really excited about today, it's that time of year. It's time to get going with the garden. Holly's over there. Let's go chat with her. The world's cutest gardener.
Shut up.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing here and what we've got going on in this bed?
Yeah, I am thinning out some of the cold hardy greens that we planted. So we've got some kale, some collards, cabbage, and then I think we've got some rogue bok choy over there at the end, but we planted them pretty densely as seeds, and so I'm thinning them out so the mature plants have enough room to grow and spread, mature, and thrive.
Also, I've got a plan in place for the turkeys. Right now, they're kind of in the same general area that I've had them now for the past few weeks. I've moved their tractor once, but I think the eventual goal is for me to move them, I'll show you, all the way around the garden and up to the chicken run. And I'm gonna move them in with the chickens, keeping them in their tractor so that it gives them time to get used to each other, all the different birds. And once they've been in with the chickens for a week or two, maybe 3 weeks, then I'm gonna let them loose. I'm gonna open this thing up and let them loose. We have talked about getting meat chickens, but apparently there's some sort of crazy bird flu going around. I think one of the places where we typically order our meat chickens from, I don't know if they're doing that right now because of some kind of crazy bird flu thing. I'm gonna have to check into that. There's probably another way to get meat chickens, but that's something that I'm gonna put a pin in here and come back to and maybe talk to you guys about later, because we really have been enjoying the meat chickens that we raised, and we still have a handful left in the freezer. We'd like to get more going, but for now we've got our turkeys and our pigs to provide us meat, but that's something worth checking into. Look at those muddy boys. Look at all that mud. Yeah, he got snapped.
Oh. There's his wallow over there.
Yep.
I want to see him roll around. Roll around. Someone got some carrots.
So walk us through what we've got growing already. I noticed that there's some verdancy already in the herb garden. There's a lot of green here. There's stuff that's already starting to pop. I'm guessing from perennials, herbs that have been here since last year. Do you want to walk us through what we've already got going?
Yeah, so there is some mint growing in a container. I think there's a couple varieties. There's some catnip that I'm going to transplant into the ground out of that container. We've got a rosemary bush here. We've got a couple lavender bushes, lemon balm, pineapple sage, which I'm hoping comes back. I think it'll come back a bit later. It was a huge bush last year and it attracted tons of hummingbirds. It was awesome. Regular sage. I forget what these are called. They're a flower. I think they're called icebox plant, maybe. And then we've got some bee balm. These three are bee balm plants. Different varieties of echinacea, and then this is a butterfly bush. So nice start, but hope to get some more planted in that urban flower garden this year.
All right, so Holly just gave me some hard-boiled eggs that we're gonna throw in.
They're old.
With the piggy's food. One thing I've learned, they don't mind shells at all.
Are those regular eggs
Those
too?
were a couple regular eggs. Yeah. They'll have quite the feast.
That's a lot of food.
Oh, they'll eat it though. All right, pig. Okay, pig.
Fence off.
Yeah, pig.
They're gonna eat you.
That's one thing that I should say. How should I put this? One of the things we were concerned about is that we'd grow too attached to frankenbeans. And then when it comes time to process them, it'll be a very hard experience. It will be, and it'll be an experience that we take somberly. But one thing that provides a note of comfort to me in all of that is that if given the chance, frankenbeans would eat me without a second thought. They would eat me. That's one thing I've noticed a couple times, is I'll come in there and I'll stop for a second. They'll start nibbling at my feet, at my toes, at my shoes. There's a little bit of comfort there knowing that frankenbeans, if given the chance, would eat me without thinking about it. Good boys. Eat it up, my friends.
Go get him. Go get him.
We already know that
You're covered in cat hair.
our cat escaped, and I had to catch him, and thus I have cat hair all over my shirt. So we already know, and we've already established that we're not going to plant the majority of our garden until probably May 1st. Just so there's no question that there won't be any freak freeze-overs overnight. We dealt with that last year, and like I said, we lost a big part of our garden. But we are growing some cold hardy greens that we have been keeping under the cold frame on cold nights. We haven't really needed to use them that much these past few days. But we're going to be planting some more things in another bed, right, Holly?
Just more greens. Those are like kale, collards, cabbage. We just want to plant some salad greens, so arugula, spinach, mustard greens.
Love it.
I think there's a mesclun mix in there too. And those things, they do pretty well. I've had those have an actual frost on them, and they
Now, are we going to
so.
put the cold frame over that new bed since they're younger and a little bit more?
Yeah, just to heat it up so the seeds will germinate,
Got it.
but we won't need it for long.
So we won't keep the cold frame on this bed. We're pretty confident letting these guys go, even with the potential of a few kind of rogue freeze nights, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get going. this soil. This was one of our highest producing tomato beds last year. The soil is so rich. We put a lot of compost in here that year. We added many things, but man, it looks so rich. And the chickens did a number on it too. And we had buckwheat growing in this as well. So this bed has been through the ringer in terms of compost, prior growth, chicken digging and scratching and subsequent manure, buckwheat, cover crop. It's paid off. This looks really good.
I always plant my salad greens like this. I don't like planting them in
Rows.
neat little rows.
Broadcast.
I like them broadcast, and then I just kind of thin them out as they go. I pick them usually daily. Spinach I do plant in little rows because it has to be planted a little bit deeper.
Okay, so we're gonna put the cold frame on here. Why, Holly?
To heat up the soil a little bit. They'd probably grow without it, but if we put the cold frame on, it'll heat up faster and the seeds should germinate quicker.
No, we don't want to bake them though, right?
No, they're not gonna bake.
Germinate now. Before I let you guys go, I did want to show you an incredibly nifty little gadget that, although it isn't cheap, it's already saved my butt a couple of times and more than paid for itself. Let me go show you what I'm talking about. So you guys might remember several episodes back where this entire crawl space flooded. The water actually got up to somewhere around here and did a lot of damage to our water heater, our electric water heater. We ended up needing to change the bottom element. Not the cheapest thing in the world and kind of time consuming. So I talked about a bunch of different ideas I had kind of deal with. What happened was our sump pump right there, the sump pump pit, the sump pump stopped working. And it wasn't like it was broken, it just needed to be adjusted. The pipe needed to be shaken. So I didn't realize it until the next day after we had a really bad rain event. And I went down and checked. Lo and behold, the water was up to here. Just for something as simple as the sump pump pipe needing to be shaken. So I thought about different things I could do to deal with that dilemma. And one of the things that somebody suggested was a little sensor alarm. And I found this sensor alarm. I don't remember the name of I don't remember the brand of it. And like I said, it wasn't cheap. It was like $50 or something. But it has this little wafer thing that goes down here. And this little guy detects water, detects new water. You hear that? And once it goes off, it actually has like a little Wi-Fi alert that alerts me on my phone. So we actually had a similar situation happen 2 weeks ago where the sump pump quit working. There it goes. It detected water since I moved it. You saw little droplets on the wafer. That's it actually detecting the issue. So there was a rain event like 2 weeks ago and the sump pump pit filled up, got that thing to go off, warned me on my phone. I was out at the time, I think, and so I went back home, shook the pipe, and it was fine. No damage. There was water maybe that high into the sump pit. It happened again 3 or 4 days ago where I had to shake the pipe. Now, there's a larger issue, I know that, and that is fixing my sump pump so it doesn't do that again, and coming up with a redundancy, some other sort of pipe that I can put in, or some other sort of backup pump that I can put in. But this is a great short-term solution. Every time there's been an issue, I just need to shake the pipe, and it fixes the issue, and it dispels the water like it should. So this little thing, it wasn't cheap, but it saved my butt several times. I'm very thankful that I got it. Well, you can't smell it from where you're sitting, but I certainly can. We've got the smoker going. And the toaster oven, which we put out here just because it does kick out smoke sometimes. And it really stinks up the house when it gets going. So we've got the toaster oven and the smoker. And I'm gonna eat. I'm hungry. So thanks for hanging out with us today, guys. We're gonna have more videos. I've been doing some traveling for work, but I think that should chill out a little bit here in the next few weeks. So we'll be doing more videos. We've got some pretty exciting announcements, as if there hasn't been enough exciting announcements with the baby coming and the pigs and starting the garden, but there's even more hijinks in store. We've got really, really cool stuff happening. So stay tuned, stay with us. Thanks for following our journey. Thanks for hanging out with us. And until we see you guys again next time, remember, as always, slowly, slowly.